12, and then we're gonna go back and do number 9. But on number 12, so on the back, we started to do it, we just didn't get to go over it. So 12 is negative 4x equals negative 2. So we talked about yesterday in opposite operations. So let's all respond here. What is the opposite of addition? Subtraction. What is the opposite of division? Multiplication. What's the opposite of subtraction? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So those undo each other. They're opposite operations. Okay? So you have to look at the x, because we're supposed to isolate the x. It's supposed to be x alone. And you need to figure out what operation is happening to that x and then undo it. So when we look at number 12, let's find the x. It's right here. And what operation is between this negative 4 and this x? Multiplication. So right here it says that x is being multiplied by negative 4. So if I wanted to get the x alone, I should divide by negative 4. So I'm going to put a division, and I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side to keep it balanced. Now, negative 4 divided by negative 4 cancels out. It's 1. 1x, which is the same thing as just x. And then I can use my calculator here if I want, but when we divide, we take top divided by bottom. So negative 2 divided by negative 4 is 0.5 or 1/2 is fine. All right, and then we also talked about how we could check these. How would I check them? We could use our calculator, but what do we do? Like, what are we going to do to check this?
You multiply the negative 4x and negative 2.
Close. So we're going to take the number that we got for our answer. So what did we get for our answer? 0.5, and I'm going to plug that back in for x, because that's what x is equal to. So if I wanted to check this, okay, so I'm just going to put it over here. So I'm going to check it. I would do negative 4 times x, because that's what the problem is. So negative 4 times 0.5, and you can use your calculator, or you can take half of negative 4, which is negative 2. Is that what it was supposed to equal? Was it supposed to equal negative 2? Yes, it was. Okay. Let's look at number 9. There's a couple different ways to do number 9. All right, we're going to think back to yesteryear, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Dividing fractions. Here's my question. What was the rule when you divided fractions? Like if I wrote up on the board 1/2 divided by 2/3, what'd you all do? Sakshi? Not for, we didn't need one for multiplying and dividing. Sophia? Keep, change, and flip that. So that was the rule for dividing fractions. So when you go to this one up here on number 9, this is technically 2/3 times x, right? Does everybody agree? That's 2/3 times x. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So you could divide both sides by 2/3. But Angel M, when I'm dividing by a fraction, I end up multiplying by the flip. So you could kind of shortcut this and multiply both sides by the flip. So instead of multiplying by 2/3, I'm going to multiply it by 3/2. And what that's going to do is it's going to cancel out the 2/3, because look, these 3's cancel out.
It's the same number.
And these 2's cancel out. They're reciprocals of each other. So they cancel out, so I get x equals, and then you can use your calculator. 8 times 3/2 is 12. So that's one way you can do it. Another way that you can do it, you have a calculator? You can divide both sides by 2/3. It will still work. On your calculator, you will take 8
I don't have my screen up.
But 8 divided by 2/3. Your fraction button is the one that has the ABC on it. So if you were gonna type that in, if you have one, you would type 8 divided by 2, and then it looks like this. Third, this button is that button that has like the ABC on it. So let's all practice that. Let's find it on our calculator and make sure you can get 12. If you can't get 12, raise your hand and one of us will come help you. Yeah. So 8 divided by 2.
Divided by. Okay.
Fraction
So
2, and then
to
fraction
your
button.
numerator, 2, and then this is your fraction button. Enter.
You should get 12. Raise your hand if you can't get 12.
No, we're gonna get it. Put that in, put that 8 divided by 2.
Does anybody else need help with their calculator? Help.
We didn't work. We put it that way. Yeah. Get it? Ooh, man, what you got? No, you gotta put the 2 first. Put the 2 first. There, hit 2. Oh, no, you got even better one. This is your fraction button.
1, 2,
3.
3, 4, 7.
Right. 2. No. You have to hit you gotta hit the numerator and then that button. Numerator, top number, fraction, hit 3. Enter. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Why do you have like a table like that? You know? You want it off? Yeah, here.
Oh, there's like a lot of memory too, but
Yeah. Wow, look, man, you got a fancy one. There you go. Two, and then hit 2, no, hit 2, and then hit fraction button. There you go.
They sent it. Later,
What do you have to sign up for?
That NumWorks, like it's called a NumberWorks calculator. All right, we're gonna do a couple more practice. So down at the bottom where the summary is, we're just gonna squeeze some problems in there. So let's do x plus 5 equals -1. So we'll do that one down there, and let's do let's see, x divided by -4 equals -3. We're just gonna do a few different ones down there. So look at the x, think, okay, I'm isolating the x, what operation is happening to the x, and then do the opposite. And make sure you show your work. Whatever I'm doing to one side, I do it to the other side. Don't do it all on your calculator because that's not gonna get you any points.
you can type even x's and stuff in there, like you type 3x plus 7 equals 12, and it'll do the whole thing. That's why I hate them. Things for the kids. Yeah, but they're trying to like sell them to schools like in set basement. If you can find them to get a free one, I was like, I want to see what it's like.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a $150 calculator that I did. 150?
This? My phone was,
Does it give you
my
the
phone was
color?
950. Yeah, I had to calculate. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Andy, we talked about that. Jonathan, we talked about that. When he says something that's not appropriate, you don't laugh at it. You're his friend.
Yes, Em. A question? What? Oh, you mean? I don't remember that. So what operation is that in 3x?
Yeah.
Make sure she worked them. Okay, so look at the x. On this side, what operation is happening to the x? So the opposite would be 2.
Okay, we're gonna go over these, just kind of talk about it for a second, because a lot of us are having trouble with a refresh here. So when I look at this first one, I'm trying to get that x by itself. So I'm looking at the side that the x is on, and I see that there's also a +5 on that side. Well, I need to get rid of it to get the x isolated. So instead of adding 5, I should subtract 5. So whatever I do once to one side, I also do it to the other side to keep them balanced. So 5 minus 5 is 0, which is what I wanted to happen, so I'm just left with x. And -1 minus 5 is -6. And then I can check it in my head or on my calculator. -6 plus 5, that is -1. So it's right. All right, let's look at the second one here. Look at the side that the x is on. What operation is happening to the x right now? This is divided by -4. So I need to get rid of divide by -4, so I'm going to multiply by -4. So -4 divided by -4 cancels out. So I'm isolated with my x. And then -3 times -4 is +12. So the negative times the negative is a positive. Okay, and then you can mentally check it, or you can use your calculator. Plug it back in for x. What is 12 divided by -4? -3. So that's what it was supposed to equal. So I'm right. Okay, you can just squeeze this anywhere on your paper. Let's do. So check the x, look at what's happening to the x, what operations are happening, and then do the opposite. But always look at the side that the x is on.
Okay. You don't want anything else other than with it. Does that come from over there and with it? Without. What's outside of that? So put that right underneath it. Now put it under, no, put it under your 7, this is going to cancel out. But you didn't just say 7, you specifically had what? So put that. Okay, what are those two things gonna do? Plus. But what do they do? If you -7 plus 7, what's the difference? Yeah, so they cross out, so cross them out. Drop them away. If you have to make data, when you do one side, you. Okay, so what's left over there? Okay, equals what? Do you? Read what you have right there. You have. Or you can say you have 5 plus 7. That's it, that's all you gotta do. Do the next one. Huh? Which one? Okay. Okay, well, give yourself some space. Come here, just write down 5 equals x minus 7. Okay, we need to make two sides to this. So we're gonna draw our line. This is what we want by itself. Can you do that? What's over there? What's with the X? This is the wall. This makes two rooms. What's in the room with the X? Yeah, subtract what? So what? What's over here? Subtract 7. We don't want that in there. Get out. You get to do these. Opposite numbers minus 7. Write that in. What are those two things gonna do? Yeah, they don't have to write that, just mark them out. So when you do one side, you. Perfect. You got perfect. You have to. Okay. Yes, you do it. 15, a positive divided by negative. So it is negative. 15 divided by 3.
You're wrong.
What operation?
That's the way you got 18. How did you get 18?
Positive or negative?
That's what I'm.
No, just always do that is.
What's fine for uniforms and all those fine.
So the opposite of you is. Okay, so what we did, so we drew our lines, okay? So this makes two rooms. This is you, you're the X. You don't want anybody in the room. Who's in the room with you right now?
And -3 and -3. What's your operation on that? So you have a number next to the letter. So does that mean, add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Nope, right in. Multiply. I'm multiplying these two things. Get him out, go to the opposite multiply, this opposite multiply. So draw your fraction bar, that's our, how we're gonna show divide. So divide, what are we gonna divide by? What are we trying to get out? It's not just a 3, it is a, so what are you gonna divide by? You're dividing by what you multiply. You're multiplying by -3, and you're gonna divide by. Start that underneath it. Good, what are those gonna do? Those are gonna cancel, so wrong. You have to be fair. This side, you.
All right, so on number 3, I'm gonna draw my line down my equal sign, and I'm going to look at the side that the X is on. So the X is over here on this right side. So when I look at the X, what's happening to the X? It's saying X -7. So if I want to get X alone, how do I get rid of -7? Add 7. I add it once to each side to keep them equal. -7 plus 7 is 0. So I get X left over there. And then 5 plus 7 is 12. And you can write it like that, or you can write it like this. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to check it in my head. So I'm going to plug 12 back in for X. So what is 12 minus 7? 5, and that's what it was supposed to be. So it's right. All right, let's look at number 4. -3x equals 15. So I'm going to look at the side that the X is on. And there's a -3 there with that X. What operation is that -3 doing? It's multiplying. This is -3 times X, but I want X to be alone. I need to get rid of it being multiplied by -3, so I'm going to divide by -3. So -3 divided by -3 is just 1x, which is X. And 15 divided by -3 is -5. And you can check it. Check it right here. Look. -3 times X. Well, X is -5. What is -3 times -5? Positive 15, which is what it should have been. Right? We're going to go ahead and pass out these next notes. Don't lose these notes, though, because we're going to come back to them. So make sure you're putting them somewhere. And we're going to do a little introduction to two-step today. And we're going to work on this all day tomorrow, too. So you should get lots of practice in. All right. Okay, so these are two-step equations because they take 2 steps to get the x alone. The other ones were one-step equations because they only took 1 step to get the x alone. So up at the top here, these are going to be our steps that we're going to follow. So I would star them, highlight them, something, but it says solving 2-step equations. The first thing that you're going to do, okay, listen. The first thing that you're going to do is undo the addition or subtraction with the opposite operation. So that's the first thing. You're going to get rid of the plus or the minus using the opposite. Write that on there. And guys, I'm telling you, if you are not paying attention, then you're not going to be able to do 1 step or 2 step. And you're not going to be able to do 3-step next week. And then next year in pre-algebra, you're not going to be able to do any, like, pretty much anything. Then in algebra, you'll be able to do nothing. You've got to pay attention. You've got to practice, okay? All right, the second thing that you're going to do after you get rid of the addition or subtraction, you're going to undo the multiplication or the division with the opposite operation. And then you're going to isolate your variable like we've been talking about. And then you're going to check your answer there. Sometimes they ask you to show your work on how you're checking your answer. Sometimes you just do it mentally in your head, okay? You just have to follow directions. Andy, did you get all that written down before I move it up? Oh. Was that thing? All right. So we're going to go down to number 1 here. And it says solve each 2-step equation below and then prove that your answer is correct. So we're going to actually check this, okay? All right, so I'm going to draw a line down my equals here. Now, one thing that I want us to start doing that helps us, especially since the majority of us are struggling, okay? I want you all to circle the term that has the X on it. So can anybody tell me, or I guess this one's K. Which term has the K on it, Ethan? 3K. So I'm going to circle this because I know that I'm trying to get that by itself first, okay? So step 1 that we just filled on the top says that we are going to undo the addition or subtraction with an opposite operation. So on this side, I want that 3K by itself. Well, right now, it's being added to positive 10. Does everybody agree? It's being added to positive 10. Well, I want to get rid of this positive 10. How do I get rid of positive 10? Minus 10, because the opposite of positive is negative. So I'm going to subtract 10, and that's going to get this 3K by itself. So I'm getting rid of the first addition or subtraction by doing the opposite. So 22 minus 10 is 12. After you do that, after you get rid of the term that's being added or subtracted, you will always have a 1-step equation. So right now, this is a 1-step equation like we've been working on, okay? Step 2 says you're going to undo the multiplication or division with the opposite. So look at the side that the K is on. I want to get K completely by itself, which means I need to get rid of the 3. I need to get rid of the 3. What operation is happening to this K with the 3? Sakshi? Multiplication. So no, go away. Go away. So this is multiplication right here. So I want to get rid of it being multiplied by 3, so I'm going to divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1k, which is just k, so now my k is isolated. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. And we're going to come back and check them at the end. Okay, we're going to do another one so you can see it again so that you're not just like thrown into it. Yep.
Don't you do 12 divided by 3? Is that what you think like that?
No, but I'm going to show you how to check them here in just a minute. So I want to go over a couple of them first. All right, let's look at number 2. So I'm going to draw my line down my equals. So I've got 19 equals 4p minus 5. Okay, so I'm looking at it. I'm going to circle the term that's got the p in it. So which term has the p in it? Jackson? The 4p. So I'm trying to get this 4p by itself. This line is just too big. Okay, so I'm trying to get the 4p by itself. Okay, so I need to get rid of the minus 5. I'm getting rid of the minus 5 because step 1 says that we're supposed to undo the addition or subtraction first. So I want to get that 4p by itself first. Right now it's 4p minus 5. So what is the opposite of minus 5? Plus 5. Whatever I do to one side, I always do to the other side. So this is negative 5 plus 5, which is 0. So I'm just left with 4p over there. And 19 plus 5 is 24. And now it's back to a one-step equation. So step 2 says to use the opposite of multiplication or division to get the p by itself. Does anybody have any ideas on what I would do now to get the p by itself? No? Division, because that is 4 times p right here. This is 4 times p. So to get p isolated, I divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is just 1p, which is p. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. I'll do another one. Trying to do a lot of practice here. Did you do these last year?
No.
Some people said they did, some people said they didn't. I don't know. Yes, no. No, if you wrote p equals 6 or 6 equals p, it does not matter. Yes, Andy. Sakshi? Okay. Don't read. I don't know. All right, well, yes, Lenny. Yeah. Okay, let's look at number 3 here. All right, so step 1 for solving a two-step equation says that we're going to undo the addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to look for the term that's got the variable in it. The term that's got the variable in it is this r over 2. And I want to isolate that first by getting rid of the addition or subtraction.
Wouldn't that R be the 1?
Yeah, but we don't have to put a 1 there. Just because r and 1r are the same thing right now. And we're not combining any like terms right now. All right, Jackson Fuller, what do you think I should do first? Huh? Okay, but remember step 1 says that we're trying to add or subtract to isolate the term that's got the variable. So Chevy, what do you think? Add the 8. Because I said that step 1 says that you're undoing the addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to try to isolate this r over 2 by getting rid of this minus 8. So I'm going to add 8. So minus 8 plus 8 cancel out. And I get left with r over 2 equals 24. Because 16 plus 8 is 24. All right, step 2 says that you're going to undo the multiplication or division with the inverse. So Fuller, what am I going to do now? Multiply by 2, because this is r divide it by 2. So the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 cancel out because they're opposite. So I get left with r equals. And then 24 times 2 is 48. 24 times 2 is 48. This was division, right, Terry? This was division. So the opposite of division is to multiply. So that's why I multiplied by 2. All right, I'm going to check my answers real quick, and then we're going to do a couple more practice problems because we still have 10 minutes. All right, so if I wanted to check this one, what you do to check it is plug the number that you got for your answer. You plug that back in to the equation for the x, or the k, or the p, or the r, whatever it is. Okay, so everybody just look up here for a minute. All right, focus. Yeah, let's focus. All right, so I'm going to take this 4, and I'm going to plug it back in for k. And I'm hoping that it equals what? 22, because that's what the problem equals. So the problem is 10 plus 3 times k. Well, 3 times k, but what's k? 4. Okay, so I'm plugging it back in to check it. So I just plug it back in for the variable. Well, order of operations say I multiply first, so what's 3 times 4? 12. And what's 12 plus 10? 22. Is that what it should have been? Yes, so that is my right answer. I know 100% that's the right answer. Now let's check the next one. It should equal what when we're done? 19. It should equal 19 when we're done because that's what it equals. So the problem is 4p. So 4 times p, but what's p? 6 minus 5. So I just plugged it in for the p, and I'm hoping it's going to equal 19. So I multiply first. So what's 4 times 6? 24. And what's 24 minus 5? Yay, look, I'm getting them all right. All right, we're going to check that last one. 48 is my r. So I'm going to go back up to the problem, and I'm going to put 48 in for my r. So it's 48 divided by 2 minus 8. And what am I hoping it's going to equal? 16. All right, so you can use your calculator. 48 divided by 2 is 24. And what's 24 minus 8? Yay, can't miss them because I can check them all. All right, we're going to flip it over, and we'll probably just finish the last 2 at the top. All right, I want to give you all a chance to do number 9. Okay, so I want you all to look at the, keep flipping front and back to look and see what I did to solve one. So find one that looks similar, so maybe like number 2. And kind of look to see what I did first and what you should do first. You think I have questions? Yeah. Wait just a minute. Or is it not working? So think about what you're doing first. Step 1, so that you're supposed to undo the addition or the subtraction first. So look at the addition or subtraction in a problem and undo that first. I want to see you all try. So even if you're not 100% sure if it's right or not, we have pencils so we can erase, so just give it a try. You can leave your answer as a decimal or a fraction.
The number next to a letter means what? It means multiply, but you need to divide. So draw your fractions. One, what are you gonna divide by? The exact same number you're multiplying by. So what do you multiply by? -4. So what do you divide by? -4. You don't change the sign when you're multiplying or dividing. Operation is this. Perfect. Is there any number where you can do 23? Watch, I'll show you. You do. 33 over 4. I gave it to you as a mixed number. Right. So you can't reduce it, so you're good. Yeah. Okay. And then subtract that. What is 32 minus take away 9?
Yes, now they pay by themselves, now you pay by themselves.
23. 23. Okay. And then, are you gonna get rid of that -4? What's a number next to the letter? A number next to the letter that adds, right, multiply. Number next to the letter. Yeah. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, and these things. Nope. Nope. Multiply. So what's the opposite of multiply? No, you gotta do the opposite. So the opposite of multiply is? That's right. So draw your fraction bar underneath. We're gonna divide by -4. I'm with you. Okay, Nancy, you don't. You have to show.
Alright, we're gonna go over this problem and then we'll be out of time. But do not lose this. We're going to finish the back tomorrow and we're gonna do some extra practice, okay? So don't leave, don't pack up yet, it's not time. Alright, so on number 9, I'm going to first, we're not packing, I didn't tell us to pack. The first thing we're gonna do is get rid of the addition or the subtraction. So in this problem, I'm trying to get this by itself, so I need to get rid of this add 9 by doing what? Minusing 9, because the opposite of addition is subtraction. I always get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So that leaves me with -4k equals 23. And then what operation is this? Multiplication. So that's -4 times k. So what would I do to get k isolated by itself now? Divide, because the opposite of multiplication is dividing, division. So I'm going to divide by -4. So that's k equals, and then you can just use your calculator. 23 divided by -4 is -5.75. Or if you didn't have a calculator, you could just left it as -23/4. I would have known that too. Okay, and you can check it, but we'll check it tomorrow. Second thing, you have a DMR quiz tomorrow over multiplying fractions. If you need extra practice, there's some on Excel that I can email to you if you email me. But be ready for that because it is a quiz grade. I'll see you all tomorrow. Yeah, please put my calculators back when you leave. Don't leave them on the desks. Bye.
My number?